Tom wiped sweat from his forehead as he stepped off the diplomatic transport ship. The crystalline world of Valora spread before him like a living rainbow. Tall crystal towers stretched into the purple sky, each one humming with a soft musical note. The ground beneath his feet sparkled with tiny gems that made walking sound like gentle chimes. "Welcome to Valora," said Ambassador Reed, Tom's supervisor. "Remember, we are here to discuss trade agreements. Stay close and observe," Tom nodded. As the ship's engineer, he was not supposed to speak during the meetings. His job was to maintain the ship and learn about Valoran technology. But Tom loved to fix things and solve problems. He could not help studying everything around him. The Valorans were beautiful beings made of living crystal. They moved with grace, their bodies catching and reflecting light in amazing patterns. Princess Kira, who greeted their group, looked like a walking rainbow. Her crystal skin shifted from blue to green to gold as she spoke. "We are honored by your visit," Princess Kira said in perfect English. Her voice sounded like music. "Today you will join us for the ceremony of deep harmony. We visit our sacred core mines where our people first discovered the power of crystal resonance." Tom watched as the Valoran guards arranged themselves around the princess. Each guard carried sonic weapons that hummed with power. Their technology was far beyond anything humans had created. Everything on Valora ran on sound waves and crystal harmonics. The group traveled to the core mines in floating vehicles that sang as they moved. Tom marveled at how the Valorans controlled everything with sound. A whistle could open doors. A musical note could start engines. A harmony could move mountains. "Your technology is incredible," Tom said to one of the Valoran scientists. "Thank you," the scientist replied. "We have spent thousands of years perfecting crystal harmony. Sound and resonance are the foundation of our civilization." As they approached the mines, Tom noticed something odd. The crystal formations around the entrance were vibrating strangely. They flickered between colors in an irregular pattern. Tom had studied crystal structures during his engineering training. This did not look normal. "Is everything all right with the crystals?" Tom asked Ambassador Reed. "Do not worry about it," Reed replied. "Let the Valorans handle their own technology." But Tom could not stop watching the crystals. His engineering mind saw patterns that concerned him. The resonance frequencies seemed unstable. Princess Kira led the group into the mine entrance. The walls were carved from solid crystal that glowed with inner light. Beautiful formations stretched in every direction like an underground cathedral. The princess explained how her ancestors had first learned to sing to the crystals in these very tunnels. "The deep chamber is where we perform our most sacred ceremony," Princess Kira said. "Only members of the royal family may enter the innermost sanctum." The group stopped at a large crystal archway. Beyond it, Tom could see a tunnel that led deeper into the mine. Warning signs in Valoran script covered the entrance. "I will go alone from here," Princess Kira announced. "Please wait while I complete the ceremony." Tom noticed that the crystal formations were vibrating more violently now. The humming sound was getting louder and more chaotic. Several Valoran guards looked worried and spoke quietly to each other in their musical language. "Something is wrong," Tom whispered to Ambassador Reed. "Stay quiet," Reed ordered. This is not our concern, but Tom could not ignore what his eyes and ears told him. The crystal harmonics were becoming unstable. Dangerous frequencies were building up throughout the mine structure. Princess Kira disappeared down the tunnel toward the deep chamber. Minutes passed. The humming grew louder. The walls began to shake. Suddenly, a terrible sound filled the air. It was like breaking glass mixed with a scream. The crystal formations throughout the mine began to crack and shatter. Emergency alarms started wailing. "Cave in!" shouted a Valoran guard. "The deep chamber is collapsing." Panic spread through the group. Valoran soldiers rushed toward the tunnel entrance but stopped abruptly. Their sonic equipment was sparking and failing. The chaotic frequencies in the air were interfering with all their technology. "Our rescue equipment will not function," reported the guard captain to his commander. "The harmonic interference is too strong. All crystal-based technology is failing." Tom watched in horror as the Valorans tried desperately to reach their princess. Their sonic shields flickered and died. Their communication devices went silent. Their floating platforms crashed to the ground. "Why is your technology failing?" Ambassador Reed asked the Valoran commander. "The cave-in has created chaotic resonance patterns," the commander explained. "These random frequencies interfere with our harmonic systems. Our bodies and our machines cannot function in such chaos." Tom understood now. The Valorans had built their entire civilization around perfect crystal harmonies. But when those harmonies became chaotic, their technology and even their biology became helpless. More crashes echoed from deep in the mine. Princess Kira was trapped somewhere in that chaos and no Valoran could reach her. How long before the entire mine collapses? Tom asked. Perhaps 30 minutes, the commander replied sadly. Maybe less. Tom looked at the tunnel entrance. Crystal debris was already falling. The harmonic chaos was getting worse by the minute. Every few seconds, new sections of the mine collapsed with sounds like thunder. Can you contact Princess Kira? Tom asked. No, the commander said. All communication is blocked by the interference. Tom made a decision that would change everything. He walked toward the tunnel entrance. Where are you going? Ambassador Reed demanded. Someone has to get her, Tom replied. The Valorans cannot enter because of the harmonic interference, Reed protested. What makes you think you can? I am human, Tom said simply. I am not made of crystal. Those chaotic frequencies might not affect me the same way. The Valoran commander looked shocked. You would risk your life for our princess? She is in danger, Tom said. I cannot stand here and do nothing. Before anyone could stop him, Tom grabbed a simple flashlight from his toolkit and ran into the tunnel. Behind him, he heard Ambassador Reed shouting for him to return. The tunnel was a nightmare of falling crystal and chaotic noise. The walls shook constantly. Sharp crystal fragments rained from the ceiling. The harmonics were so wild that they hurt Tom's ears, but they did not paralyze him like they did the Valorans. Tom realized his human biology was indeed different. The chaotic frequencies made him uncomfortable, but they did not shut down his nervous system. His carbon-based body could function where crystal-based life could not. He pressed deeper into the mine, following the main tunnel toward where the deep chamber should be. Several times he had to climb over piles of fallen crystal. Once, a large formation crashed down just behind him. The deeper he went, the worse the harmonic chaos became. Tom could barely hear his own thoughts over the screaming crystal formations. But he kept moving forward. After what felt like hours but was probably only minutes, Tom reached a massive cave-in. Tons of crystal had fallen from the ceiling, completely blocking the tunnel, but Tom could hear something beyond the debris, a faint tapping sound in a regular pattern. Princess Kira. Tom shouted over the noise. The tapping stopped, then resumed in a different rhythm. Tom realized she was trying to communicate. She was alive but trapped. Tom studied the fallen crystal barrier. It was huge, far too much for one person to move. But Tom was an engineer. He understood leverage and stress points. He also understood that crystal, despite being incredibly hard, could be brittle. Using his flashlight, Tom examined the crystal formation carefully. He found several places where the structure looked unstable. If he could create the right kind of pressure in the right places, he might be able to cause a controlled collapse that would open a passage. Tom had no sonic tools like the Valorans used. Instead, he relied on simple human engineering. He found loose crystal chunks that he could use as hammers and wedges. He located stress points where the formation was already cracked. Working quickly but carefully, Tom began to break down the barrier piece by piece. He used basic physics, levers, fulcrums, and pressure points. It was exhausting work, and several times he nearly got crushed by falling debris. But slowly, Tom created a small opening in the crystal wall. It was barely large enough for a person to crawl through, but it was enough. Princess Kira, Tom called through the opening. Here, came a weak voice from beyond. I am here. Tom squeezed through the narrow opening, scraping his arms and tearing his clothes on the sharp crystal edges. On the other side, he found Princess Kira trapped beneath a large crystal formation. She was conscious but could not move. Are you hurt? Tom asked, shining his flashlight over her. My leg is trapped, she replied. I cannot feel it anymore. Tom examined the situation. A massive crystal beam had fallen across Princess Kira's leg, pinning her to the ground. The crystal was far too heavy for Tom to lift alone, but again Tom's engineering knowledge gave him options that pure strength could not. He studied the crystal beam and the surrounding debris. Crystal formations had natural fault lines, places where they were weaker. Tom found tools in the debris, sharp crystal fragments that could work like chisels. He began working at the natural fault lines in the crystal beam, using controlled pressure to create small cracks. What are you doing? Princess Kira asked. Creating a controlled break, Tom explained as he worked. If I can split this beam at the right place, I can free your leg without dropping the full weight on you. It was delicate work. Too much pressure in the wrong place could cause the entire ceiling to collapse. Too little pressure would not break the crystal at all. Tom worked by feel and instinct, using his understanding of materials and stress. Gradually, tiny cracks appeared in the crystal beam. The cracks spread slowly along the natural fault lines. Finally, with a sharp crack, the crystal beam split in two. The piece pinning Princess Kira's leg broke away, freeing her. "Can you move?" Tom asked. Princess Kira tried to stand but gasped in pain. "My leg is damaged, but I can walk with help." Tom helped her to her feet. They had to get out quickly. The mine was still collapsing, and their small shelter would not last much longer. Supporting Princess Kira, Tom led her back to the narrow opening he had created. Getting through was difficult with her injured leg, but they managed it together. The journey back through the collapsing tunnel was terrifying. Tom had to half-carry Princess Kira while dodging falling crystal and navigating around new cave-ins. Several times they had to find alternate routes when their path was blocked, but Tom's human endurance served them well. While Valorans were graceful and advanced, humans were built for survival in harsh conditions. Tom's muscles could handle the strain. His lungs could cope with the crystal dust. His reflexes could react to sudden dangers. Step by step, they made their way back toward the mine entrance. The chaotic harmonics continued to rage around them, but Tom pushed through the discomfort. Princess Kira's weight slowed them down, but Tom refused to leave her behind. Finally, Tom saw light ahead, the entrance to the mine. He could hear voices calling in the Valoran language. "We are here," Tom shouted as loudly as he could. The voices grew excited. Tom emerged from the tunnel carrying Princess Kira, just as another massive section of the mine collapsed behind them. The waiting Valorans erupted in amazement and relief. Princess Kira was alive and safe. The impossible rescue had succeeded. But this was only the beginning of Tom's adventure on Valora. The medical chamber in the Valoran Palace hummed with soft harmonics as crystal healers worked on Princess Kira's injured leg. Tom sat in a corner, exhausted but watching everything with curious eyes. His clothes were torn and dirty from the mine rescue, and small cuts covered his arms from the sharp crystal edges. Queen Vera entered the chamber like a living sunset. Her crystal form shifted from deep purple to brilliant gold as she moved. She was larger than her daughter, more imposing, with thousands of years of wisdom reflected in her faceted features. "Human Tom," Queen Vera said, her voice carrying the authority of absolute rule. "You have done something no Valoran could do. You have saved my daughter's life." Tom stood up quickly. "Your Majesty, I just did what anyone would do." "No," Queen Vera replied firmly. "What you did was impossible for us. Our greatest warriors, our most advanced technology, our centuries of knowledge, all of it failed. But you succeeded with nothing but simple tools and determination." Ambassador Reed stepped forward nervously. "Your Majesty, we are honored by your gratitude." Tom acted on his own, against our protocols. Queen Vera's crystal form flickered with interest. "Against your protocols? You mean your people tried to stop him from saving my daughter?" Reed shifted uncomfortably. "We have strict rules about interfering in local affairs." "Fascinating," Queen Vera mused. "Your people have rules against helping others in danger. Yet this one human chose to ignore those rules." She turned back to Tom. "Tell me, human Tom, why did you risk your life for someone you barely knew?" Tom thought carefully about his answer. "Princess Kira was in trouble. Someone had to help her. It did not matter that I am human and she is Valoran. Life is valuable." Queen Vera's form shimmered with what Tom would later learn was amazement. "You speak as if it were obvious." "But what you did was beyond our understanding. How did you survive the harmonic chaos that paralyzed all our technology?" "I think it is because I am not made of crystal," Tom explained. "Those chaotic sounds hurt my ears, but they did not shut down my body like they did to your machines." Dr. Zen, the chief Valoran scientist, approached the group. "Your Majesty, I have been studying the humans' rescue. His methods were completely illogical by our standards, yet they worked perfectly." "Explain," Queen Vera commanded. "He used brute force and simple leverage instead of harmonic resonance," Dr. Zen said with wonder in his voice. "He struck crystal formations with other crystals to break them. He used his body weight and strength to move obstacles. These are techniques we abandoned thousands of years ago as primitive. Yet they worked when our advanced methods failed," Queen Vera observed. Tom listened to this conversation with growing understanding. The Valorans had become so advanced in their crystal harmony technology that they had forgotten simpler methods. When their sophisticated systems failed, they had no backup plans. Over the next few days, as Princess Kira recovered, Tom was invited to stay in the palace as an honored guest. He was given crystal chambers that sang him to sleep and gardens that grew musical flowers. But what interested Tom most were the problems he overheard the Valorans discussing. The first problem came up during a meal with the palace staff. Tom learned that the Valoran food production systems were failing. Their quantum gardens, which grew food using pure light and harmony, were producing less each year. The crystals are aging, explained Garden Master Finn. After 3,000 years, their resonance frequencies are shifting slightly. Our food production has dropped by half in the last century. Tom asked to see the gardens. What he found amazed him. Vast chambers filled with crystal formations that converted light into plant matter through harmonic manipulation. It was incredible technology, but Tom noticed something the Valorans had missed. Your crystals are not aging, Tom told Garden Master Finn. They are becoming mineral depleted, the same way that soil becomes depleted on my world. Impossible, Finn replied. Crystals do not need minerals like primitive dirt. But the plants they create do, Tom pointed out. Even if you make food from light, that food still needs trace elements to be nutritious. Your crystals have been giving up their minerals for 3,000 years. Tom suggested something radical, mixing actual soil with the crystal matrices. The Valorans were horrified at first. Dirt was considered primitive and dirty. But when Tom showed them how to create hybrid growing chambers that combined crystal harmony with natural soil nutrients, the food production doubled within days. The second problem emerged when Tom visited the transport depot. Valoran vehicles were magnificent floating platforms that moved silently through the air, using harmonic levitation. But lately they kept breaking down. The harmonic fields are becoming unstable, explained Transport Chief Maya. We have rebuilt the resonance chambers dozens of times, but the vehicles still malfunction. Tom studied the vehicles and found the issue immediately. Your harmonic chambers are perfectly tuned, but you are not accounting for wind resistance and turbulence. What is wind resistance? Maya asked. Tom realized that Valoran technology was so advanced that they had forgotten basic physics. Their vehicles worked perfectly in still air, but real-world conditions included wind, temperature changes, and atmospheric pressure variations. Your vehicles need stabilizers, Tom explained. Simple mechanical systems that can adjust for external forces. Working with Valoran engineers, Tom designed hybrid vehicles that combined harmonic levitation with basic aerodynamic principles. The new vehicles were not only more stable but also more efficient. Word of Tom's solutions spread quickly through the palace. Soon Valorans were bringing him problems that had puzzled their greatest minds for centuries. The water purification systems were failing because they relied entirely on crystal filtration. Tom showed them how to add simple mechanical filters that caught particles the crystals missed. The communication networks had dead zones where harmonic signals could not penetrate. Tom suggested using relay towers with basic radio components to fill the gaps. The defense systems could not track objects that did not emit harmonic signatures. Tom introduced them to optical tracking and mechanical sensors. Each solution seemed impossibly simple to Tom, but to the Valorans, they were revolutionary. They had become so specialized in crystal harmony that they had lost the ability to think about problems in different ways. Dr. Zen approached Tom one evening as he worked on improving the palace's lighting systems. Human Tom. Dr. Zen said, I must ask you something. How do you see solutions that are invisible to us? Tom paused in his work. I think it is because I learned to fix things that break often. Human technology is not as advanced as yours, so we have to be creative when things go wrong. But surely your people have specialists for different types of problems. We do, Tom agreed. But basic problem solving is something every engineer learns. We call it thinking outside the box. Outside the box? Dr. Zen repeated the phrase carefully. It means looking at problems from different angles, Tom explained. Not just using the same methods everyone else uses. Dr. Zen's crystal form brightened with excitement. This concept of thinking outside the box, could you teach it to our scientists? Before Tom could answer, a palace guard approached. Human Tom, Queen Vera commands your presence in the throne chamber. Tom followed the guard through corridors lined with singing crystals. The throne chamber was vast, with a ceiling that reached high into the palace spire. Queen Vera sat on a throne made from a single enormous crystal that reflected light in thousands of directions. Princess Kira stood beside the throne, her leg fully healed. Ambassador Reed and the rest of the human diplomatic team waited near the entrance, looking nervous. "Human Tom," Queen Vera said, her voice filling the chamber with harmonic authority. "Approach." Tom walked forward until he stood before the crystal throne. Queen Vera's form cycled through colors as she studied him. "In the days since you saved my daughter," Queen Vera began, "you have accomplished something remarkable. You have solved problems that have plagued our civilization for centuries, problems that our greatest minds declared unsolvable." Tom remained silent, unsure what to say. "Our food production has doubled. Our transport systems are more reliable than ever. Our communication networks reach places they never could before. All because of your primitive human solutions." Queen Vera stood from her throne, her crystal form now burning bright white. "I have come to a realization," she continued. "The Valoran Empire has grown stagnant. We have become so focused on perfecting our crystal harmony that we have forgotten how to adapt. We have specialized ourselves into a corner." She gestured toward Tom. "But humans are different. You have not specialized. You have remained adaptable. You think in ways that we cannot." Ambassador Reed stepped forward nervously. "Your Majesty, we appreciate your gratitude, but our mission here is nearly complete. We must return to human space soon." Queen Vera turned her attention to Reed with a look that could have cut crystal. "Ambassador, your mission parameters have changed." Reed's face went pale. "Your Majesty? Human Tom will not be leaving with your diplomatic vessel," Queen Vera declared. "He will remain on Valora as my personal advisor." The chamber fell silent except for the gentle humming of the crystal walls. Tom felt his heart racing. "Your Majesty," Reed protested, "you cannot simply keep one of our people. This could cause a diplomatic incident." "I am not keeping him prisoner," Queen Vera replied coldly. "I am offering him a position. The choice is his to make." All eyes turned to Tom. He felt the weight of the decision pressing down on him. Going home meant returning to his quiet life as a ship's engineer. Staying meant something entirely different. What exactly would this position involve? Tom asked. Queen Vera smiled, a sight that filled the chamber with rainbow light. "You would be the first human advisor to the Valoran Empire. Your job would be to help us think outside the box, as you call it, to solve problems we cannot solve ourselves." "But I am just an engineer," Tom protested. "I am not a diplomat or a scientist." "Exactly," Queen Vera said. "You are not limited by our ways of thinking. You see solutions where we see only problems." Princess Kira spoke for the first time since Tom had entered the chamber. "The galaxy is changing, Tom. New challenges are emerging that will require new kinds of solutions. The Valoran Empire needs someone who can help us adapt." Tom looked around the chamber, at the magnificent crystal technology, at the advanced beings who had solved problems in ways humans could barely understand, at the opportunity to bridge two completely different civilizations. "What about my people?" Tom asked. "What about Earth?" "You would not be abandoning your people," Queen Vera assured him. "You would be building a bridge between our civilizations. The solutions you help us discover could benefit both humans and Valorans." Ambassador Reed looked like he wanted to object, but Princess Kira stepped forward. "Tom," she said, "you saved my life when no one else could. But more than that, you have shown us that there are other ways to think about problems, ways we had forgotten or never learned." She gestured toward the crystal walls around them. "This empire spans 1,000 worlds. We have technology beyond your imagination, but we have also become rigid in our thinking. We need someone who can help us remember how to adapt." Tom realized this was about more than just him. It was about two civilizations learning from each other. Humans had adaptability and creative problem-solving. Valorans had advanced technology and vast resources. Together, they could accomplish things that neither could achieve alone. "If I stay," Tom said slowly, "I want to be able to communicate with Earth. I want to share what I learn here with my people." "Of course," Queen Vera agreed. "We will establish permanent communication links between Valora and Earth. Your knowledge will flow both ways." Tom took a deep breath. He thought about his quiet life as a ship's engineer, maintaining systems and solving small technical problems. Then he thought about the challenges facing the Valoran Empire, problems that needed human creativity to solve. "I will stay," Tom said. Queen Vera's form blazed with satisfaction. "Then let it be recorded in the Imperial Archives. Tom of Earth is hereby appointed as the first human advisor to the Valoran Empire." As the ceremony concluded and Tom officially accepted his new position, he realized his life had changed forever. He was no longer just an engineer who fixed broken machines. He was now a bridge between two civilizations, helping each one learn from the other. The rescue of Princess Kira had been just the beginning. Now Tom faced an even greater challenge, helping an ancient empire learn to think in new ways while learning from their advanced knowledge. But as Tom looked around at the crystal chamber and the beings who had welcomed him, he knew he had made the right choice. Sometimes the most important problems were the ones that seemed impossible to solve.